John Knight to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the October 19th, 2017 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First item of business this morning, please.
First item is item number 1, proclamations, presentations. Presentation of a check as a result of concession sales at the aquatic centers from Kona to Shawnee County Parks and Recreation.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. If you'll recall, earlier last year, we came before you and talked about a pilot program in which we were working with this group called Kona Ice at not only the new Midwest Health Aquatic Center, but numerous facilities around the county. That partnership turned out much better than I anticipated. This is not my brainchild. It was Dave Alliker's brainchild. With that being said, I'd just like to turn this over to him and let him present to you.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Alliker, Aquatic Supervisor. What John didn't tell you is that the backside of the story, he said I'd have to wash his company vehicle for a year if this program didn't go. And I also told him that if it did go, then I'd get a pay raise. So we both know neither one of those actually came true. Just give you a little background. These guys came, Matt and Jay came to me in January when it was cold, and they had an idea to sell shaved ice at the aquatic facilities. I kind of thought they were crazy at the time because it was January. Like the concept, the 20% of gross proceeds would come to us. We started this program in May. We went through the end of the September when the facilities closed. I'd like to introduce Jay and Matt right now. They'll kind of present what we had at the end of the season.
Hello, Commissioners.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you. Matt Douglas here. Like Dave said, we had we're a new company here to Topeka. Started it last spring, and wanted to look at partnerships with the city and Parks and Recs and different organizations throughout the area. So we approached Dave early, and we came to a pretty good agreement and partnership, and it's just been a great success. And this is Jay, by the way. Bob. Sorry, we know Mr. Archer. So today, we just want to do the check presentation, and I'm excited for future partnerships for next year and the year after and whatnot, and excited to say that the program, just with the pools alone, the Give Back partnership was over $5,500. So,
Wow.
And so, I don't know, we brought this big fancy check in, our Price is Right check, so just wanted to present that today and tell you guys thank you. So.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Wow.
Appreciate it. Oh,
We didn't
Commissioner.
talk about, what are some of your flavors? Because you guys have, it's great.
You've tried them, you said?
Yeah, I have. Come on up.
You want me to go back out there? he was going to talk. This being our first year, I don't know how many of you saw our truck, but we actually have what we call a flavor wave. So we offer 10 flavors, but we have the option of, 50 more. More than that, because, obviously, everybody asks me what's your best flavor, and I say multiple. Like, just do 2 or 3. The kids have a blast, but we have blue raspberry, tiger's blood, lemon lime, orange happy, watermelon, ninja cherry, island rush, several more, but I've made cotton candy, cappuccino, ice cream, root beer, like so many more, and that's usually at the behest of my children, so I have gallons of it that we haven't even used because we're still learning. This was our first summer, and I had a blast. Working with David was awesome. Dealing with 14-year-old employees is a little rough, but it paid off, and they're awesome kids, so we really enjoyed it. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Next item, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There was one item on the consent agenda. Any questions?
No, I have no questions. I'll move approval.
Second. Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $500,990.68. The highlights out of the voucher reports are really in 2 areas, with Department of Corrections at $169,654.86, and then holding accounts, which was State of Kansas Department of Motor Vehicles of $131,269.46. Those make up the bulk majority of the vouchers. I do not have any questions, so we move for their approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the voucher report by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A3, consider approval of resolution number 2017-58, authorizing the issuance of 2018 cereal malt beverage license to John's Food Center located at 5812 South Topeka Boulevard. And this is the beginning of our cereal malt beverage. You will be seeing this in the next months or so. Everything has been checked off. The counselor's office has reviewed the KBI. They always do a review on it. It has had a health inspection, passed the flying colors, and the township has been notified. No delinquent taxes, so everything is okay on it. Just ask that you approve the resolution.
Very good. I'll move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. And that motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Thank you, Commissioner. Item B, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 345-2017 with Kona for 20% of gross concession sales at aquatic facilities minus taxes through September 30th, 2019, with an option of an additional 2-year renewal ending September 2021.
Commissioners, as we just had a real presentation on what the benefits to Shawnee County are working with Kona Ice. This is a contract, the original contract allowed us to extend that for an additional 2-year period. What I'd also like to point out is that we designated, since the biggest priority Parks and Recreation has right now is the capital maintenance and bringing our facilities back up, all of this money would be dedicated right to those services, and that's where the check would be deposited. And that was, I think, Betty's recommendation, because I'm not quite sure what she thought I'd do with it other than that, but this way she knows exactly what I'm doing with it. So be happy to answer any other questions. David Aliker, Sean Osborne, and Kona Ice are all here should you have any questions.
Questions about the contract?
I don't have any, and I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. And again, thank you, guys. Next item, please.
Item B2, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 346-2017 with Harvesters Community Food Network for the Kids Care Program to provide meals and active programming at the Crestview, Oakland, and Rice Community Centers for youth ages pre-kindergarten through 12th grade for the period of October 6, 2017 through May 25th, 2018.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is, as it says, a contract with the Harvesters Community Food Network to operate the Kids Cafe. These are this project will touch on several different things, from activities for kids to do after school, but also the community health improvement program, all of those type of things. That's a big need in our community. Susan Hensler, Jess Rakestraw, Darlene Streeter, they're all here in the back. They work really hard with Harvesters to get this contract set up. I don't know if they have anything they'd like to add to that, or if you guys have any specific questions they may answer.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jess Rakestraw, Parks and Rec. This is an MOU with Harvesters to provide the Kids Cafe after-school food program at Rice, Crestview, and Oakland Community Centers. Essentially, what that is the Kids Cafe is a nutritious food program to offer to school-age children throughout the school year at those community centers. And as John mentioned, that we're trying to do programming with that, so there's activities as well for them to do. It has been a group effort. The city of Topeka approached us with their Refuel Topeka campaign, asking us if we'd be interested. We, of course, said, yeah, that'd be a great fit. Then we met with Harvesters to do paperwork and training, and then we had we needed a 501c3 letter of support, so the Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Foundation graciously did that. So it's been a group effort to get where we're at today, and I'm excited to move forward, so I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
I know this is a great program. It's kicking off with Refuel, but we also have other programs that we're working on with Silverbacks through the Hillcrest. What are some of the other programs we have, partnerships for food for families and kids? And
Yeah, so Silverbacks is a big part of this program as well. Not necessarily this program, but another program that offers food. They do that at Central Park and at Hillcrest and at Garfield, and those are successful programs that we've had a lot of success with. So when we were approached to implement similar programs at other locations, we just jumped on board and thought the more we could do for more kids, the better. So.
absolutely.
Just have a
Yes,
follow-up
Commissioner
question.
Bueller.
Just, is it breakfast, lunch?
It is, it's kind of like a pre-dinner in my opinion. It's going to be served from 4 to 4:30 at all of these centers throughout the week on the days that they're open. So that's 5 days a week at Oakland and Crestview and 4 days a week at Rice. So, yes, they'll be open 4 to 4:30 throughout the whole school year. So,
I would just ask, at the end of the project, I'd like to know attendance and how successful we were in working with harvesters in the community and how well it was received. So if
absolutely.
we can do that.
Yeah, we do keep it. They'll keep attendance. It's actually part of
Okay.
the paperwork mandated by Harvesters, so it does track attendance and total number of meals served and that type of thing.
That'd be great. I
Yeah.
really support this contract, and I'd like to see, the results of the success of the program.
Absolutely.
after May. So,
And I
good.
will mention, one thing, there's a media event this afternoon, hopefully, to promote the Refuel Topeka campaign as well. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No.
A motion?
So moved to approve the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item B3, consider authorization and execution of contract C 347-2017 with Kansas Fencing, Inc. for construction and installation of overhead netting at the Bettis Family Sports Complex at a cost of $56,800 with funding from the Parks and Recreation 2017 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Osborne and the Sports Division have worked real close to soliciting bids. It's not an uncommon concern that people bring up about foul balls at the Bettis Complex. I know we've all heard that. This isn't going to eliminate that problem, but this will take care of some of the issues that are right in and around some of the common areas. If you have any specific questions about that, I'd be glad to have Sean come up here, and I guess Kevin Stoner is here too. I'm sorry, I didn't see you back there, Kevin. Kevin Stoner's are the ones who makes all of these leagues and these facilities operate. So both of those two guys are here should you have any specific questions.
Questions about? Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Just a comment that this is something that's been needed for quite some time. I know that cost has been an issue. It's a common complaint about foul balls at the Bettis, or where you have people out on the concourse walking around and the ball's coming down without any warning. And so this addresses that need and safety issues, and so I'm glad that we're able to move forward on this. And hopefully, as you said, it won't eliminate all foul balls, but cut down on the risk of injury to our participants and customers.
Very good.
I'll move for approval.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B4, consider approval of request to create and fill 2 new park maintenance technician positions at an annual salary, including benefits, of $46,766.83 each, and to fill any subsequent positions that become open as a result of filling the new positions. and to eliminate 2 park maintenance worker positions.
Commissioners, this is a request to add 2 new positions. You may not know that we've had vacant park maintenance positions all the way back to 2015. What very few applicants we do get for those positions haven't even risen to the caliber that we wanted to hire. We're reorganizing some of those positions with the help of the new HR director, Angela Lewis, and these are tech positions. We're asking for specific skills on these. John Boyd, who supervises that division and would supervise these positions, is here should you have any specific questions.
Standard question is, this links to the master plan?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B5, consider request for direction regarding the repurposing of the Lake Shawnee swim beach.
Good morning, Commissioners. About 7-8 months ago, we came to the Commission as we were preparing our facilities for the upcoming summer. If you'll recall, we talked about the Lake Shawnee swim beach. I brought some pictures down here and showed you some of the condition. The patches, we had run out of as many times as we could repatch some of the things on the slides. For this season, and I believe it was Sean Osborne who made the presentation to you that day, as we talked quite a bit about the one solution would have been to throw $350,000, $400,000, put slides back in to replace the ones that came out, all into a facility that had begun losing interest for many, many years. And I didn't want to put money right back into something that had begun to show that it isn't what the community wanted. At that time, Sean told you that we'd begin to engage the public, come back to you with a report. That's what we want to come back to you today with, a report, give you an idea of what we might be able to accomplish by the 2018 season, and then also give you a grander scale thing of what we're hearing from the public and direction that we may recommend to go. That being said, I'm going to turn this over to Sean and Jim Martin.
Good morning, Commissioner. Sean Osborne, Parks and Recreation. Before I get started, I did want to bring
Sean.
As John stated, we came to you guys in March and put together a plan to try to upgrade the beach. And basically, what you see in this photo here, this whole area here that we have that encompasses, and the beach is right here, this is areas that we're looking to do different things, but it's in the future. It's not immediate. It's not right now. It's something that we're looking at. Obviously, one of the things that you see right here is where the marina sits. The marina plans, we plan on bringing the marina over here. One of the reasons why we looked at that was we have a built-in audience already right here with the Betta Sports Complex. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these individuals that come to tournaments and things, they leave. But if we create something in this area, they'll stick around. That's the goal that we're trying to look at for the beach and in the future. Let me get to the next one. Am I not clicking this right? Because it's not going.
You have to use that.
There we go. Oh, let me go back. This thing is touchy.
Keep going.
Going up. Okay. Do I click that?
Nope. Well, we need to use the keep in. Yeah, use the keyboard.
There you go.
Just use the arrows. Yeah, keep coming back to the top. There you go. There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that. This is just an aerial view that we have of the beach as it states today with the Bettis Complex parking lot and the beach the way it exists now. As you can see, basically, we opened in 1976 and we upgraded in 95, and then we added a few of the features that were there that we talked about previously at the bathhouse in 2004. This is a slide that we had in front of you guys back in March, which was at the Lake Shawnee Beach. As you can see with attendance numbers, they were declining along with our revenue and what the cost of and the maintenance that all went back into the beach as it states. And John commented on this here. We could have gone back in, and yes, we could have put in $350,000, $400,000 and just created what we had before, but obviously we wanted to go back out to the public and see what they wanted to bring in. Since we are talking about something that was very popular in the 90s, and that it's kind of seen its downward slide. This is the beach as you see it right now in October. Jim had taken this picture. This is part of the reason why in some of the upcoming slides that Jim has, this is why we want to create some things and the water flow in and out of the beach so that we don't have this type of stagnant water. This is another view of, in October, of what the beach is looking like now. Basic repair, we're trying to get rid of the stagnant water. We want to relocate the paddle boats, and we do want to add some new aquatic features to create that atmosphere at Lake Shawnee. Since it is one of the destination places to come in the state of Kansas, we'd like to draw more people to that. With that being said, I will leave the rest of this up to Jim. He has more of the exciting slides to go through.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Martin, Parks and Rec volunteer for lack of any other title here, but oops. The focus has been on what can be done for the 2018 season to begin repurposing the beach to make it active and produce revenue and rekindle the excitement out at the lake. Sean's already gone over most of these. I won't repeat them. You can see that basically these are some tasks that need to be done for the 2018 season. One of the things that the addition of aquatic features, addition to the paddle boats as kayaks, water balls, or that type of thing. You also see on here initiation of design and construction for a small building for rental and storage purposes, and then also looking at what we call the beach water refresh system that would actually move the water within the beach. The way the beach is structured with the rock jetty wall, if you remember right, when the slides were operating, there was pumped water going to the slides all the time. So basically that was the only lake water that was refreshing the beach, and it went all to the south end of the beach. So, you know, adverse conditions could develop very, very quickly. So these are some of the things that Parks and Rec staff can get underway with respect to moving changing the rock jetty, moving the paddle boats over. There needs to be some design and construction work of a limited nature to accommodate some of these additional features. And this is just a very quick slide just to indicate to you, if you look at the south end where it says harbor entrance, that is not there now. That's a breach that we're proposing in the rock jetty to allow for movement of water from north to south. You see where I'm talking about the pump stations on the north end here. The one with the blue line is existing, that fed the spray towers and the slides that you can see there. We're showing another pump station there, but in reality what all this does is say, okay, we want to put a flow of lake water
recirculating lake water through the entire beach area. And between those two systems, a hard look needs to be done on how to do that physically, but we would talk in terms of refreshing the lake water on a regular basis, having an entrance, and you'll see in a minute when we talk about when I say harbor entrance there, you'll see what I'm alluding to there. But this is an important thing to get that beach back in operating condition, not only for aquatic rental activities of small watercraft, but then the potential for other activities as well. Now this picture shows you a little bit more, and you can see there's the harbor entrance we were talking about. This is the existing floating dock that's over at the existing marina right now, moved. This is a proposed position for just a small building, and then really a covered security area that additional small watercraft could be placed in for like overnight security, that type of thing. Here again, paddle boards, kayaks, other type of things that could be rented out. And the slides would be taken out, and this area would potentially be used for some other features down the road. Refurbish the sand volleyball court and refurbish the building just a little bit. And these are and then the green area you're seeing there, again, are some areas that Parks and Rec, when they have time to start doing some additional work in the wooded areas to potentially pave the way for some additional features that might be considered down the road. So what we're aimed at is to establish that 2018 presence with additional facilities in the sense of rental facilities with more than paddle boats, increase the number of people that use it. As Sean mentioned, with the ball diamonds next door, I'll give you an idea that in 2017, just the tournament schedule, teams, players, coaches, and just the immediate parents, that type of thing, there was between 25 and 30,000 people in the tournament season at Bettis alone, let alone any other activities. So we anticipate that those additional features will be quite successful initially. And then the other thing that has been discussed is how can you repurpose the beach to add additional activities, supplement the work with the additional aquatic facilities. Like here we see the paddle boats. We're talking about adding paddle boards, kayaks, water trikes, and I'll get into that in a minute. But the repurposing of the beach is really kind of looking at three major things. One of them is to, again, enhance the lake as a regional destination. So many people come to Bettis and the lake as such. We think there's a tremendous opportunity here to enhance the immediate rental situation with these activities in 2018. And then the master plan also talked in terms of looking long-term at establishing some type of adventure facility or additional activities at the lake. So as Sean and the staff work to try to do some immediate things to increase activity in 2018, we're also going to take a look at what lies beyond, or what could lie beyond. And this is kind of a multi-step process that we'll be looking at. And the reason I say what lies beyond is because this is that same beach picture a while ago. The area in purple A is just the beach site. G is actually the lake. And then you see these other parcels right around. Bettis is to the right. Croco Road is running right to left on the bottom. These are some areas that we're taking a look at as far as the potential for other activities that might be or could be placed or that might be compatible with the beach and or an improved beach and or with Bettis activity. You note that the areas are small. but there's some, they have some character, and there's a number of things that they think that might be possible. Now, in doing this, in 2017, Sean's already talked about, we're developing an approach to reestablish the beach and repurpose the beach with the additional rentals, and also changing the water flow or enhancing the water flow to where it can actually be utilized as a beach in the future. I talked about the initiation of the design of a small rental facility, and then I'd like to talk about the other briefly, the public engagement part that we initiated. Two things. We started with the paddle boats as a base, but beyond that, what should Parks and Rec do even for 2018? So we wanted to immediately go out to the public and get a sense of what people might like, even as a initial beginning. And so what we did is Sean got a very large committee of Parks and Rec staff, and I visited with them, and we started to develop, and we developed an online survey, which is still available online, and we'd like everybody to take it. It's a very simple visual survey. At the same time, we took that same survey, and to try to get an immediate feedback, I got the pleasure of plunging into the world of 4th graders through 8th graders. And with some contacts at Shawnee Heights and Washburn Rural, over about a week or so, I basically applied that the survey to a number of classes, up to a total of about 600 kids. And I can tell you that on those days, I was absolutely the most popular person in that school. I have never seen such enthusiasm. But what we did was to try to get our original target on the survey, and especially the online survey, was really the 20 to 40 some age, because of use and young families and long-term quality of life issues. That's what we're really talking about, is how can we increase quality of life at the lake, at the facility. So the online was kind of geared at the older folks, but we wanted to get a younger survey going. So we jumped into that, and we basically told them, first of all, we asked them if they knew where the lake was, if they'd been there. Got lots of responses. Did they know the beach? How many had gone to the beach? A good share of them had gone to the beach. Did they know the beach was closed? No. What do you think about that? I got booed. But then I said, okay, I need your help. And so we administered, and this is a Shaz class. And the interesting thing, you notice they're all doing like this. They had gotten so boisterous that the teachers told them they had to use their quiet voices, and they could only do this. But we administered, this was just an example of the paper survey. And we gave them 37 choices. We told them they could only pick certain ones out of 5 categories. They couldn't pick them all, or they would have. So what this is, and this is, when you go online, you'll see the survey. It's the very same, pretty much the same thing, a little different format, but you can pick and choose. So what we found and what we were looking for was, really what people were interested in. So the interesting thing that surprised us, quite frankly, is that we didn't know what we would get from the online survey. But this is a combined of the young kids, about 600 out of the grade schools, plus about 1,400 out of the online survey. And the interesting thing here, as I'll point out, is that those responses from both kids and online covered 57 zip codes. This is not localized to the Lake Shawnee area at all, which is one of the goals and that we wanted. But oh, by the way, the other school districts in Shawnee County were also contacted and offered the surveys, et cetera. They chose, I think, to have their kids take some of it online. So I have not been out to the others, other than Washburn, Shawnee Heights, but we were in contact with all the school districts and had good conversations with them, but so they took the online. But the other interesting thing is here's the age spread on the responses, as you can see there. The young ages, 30%, the middle ages, if you will, over 40%. So the interest is there across the board, and then down ages 40 and up, a lot of them were in the 50s and 60s. So the age spread here was quite substantial, and we felt very good about this. Now this is, I'll give you a little enlargement here, but this is those same categories. And basically you'll see a blue, that's the kids, the red is the online, and then the gold is the combined. And it's really interesting here that the choices that the kids made were pretty much mimicked by the adults for the top vote getters, if you will. And you can go through there and check each one of them and see it's, this gives us a really good indication of some of the immediate things that Sean and the Parks and Rec staff can look at for 2018, and it gives us an idea of what might be later on if we, so choose to look at something. The top vote getter was this, zip lines, without a doubt. I mean, kids and adults. This one was the top voter with the kids. This is just a water playground. It's got a little bit of everything on it, but it's a floating. That goes back to how you again try to repurpose the beach to make it more of a water event or water facility as opposed to pure swimming versus activities. And so the kids were very, very active with this. This was another one. This is not a real good picture, but this is a set of towers, and it's a family adventure. And you can see there's three. There's a family right in there that they're traversing this activity. That was, again, one of the major vote getters. And believe it or not, I didn't believe this, but this came out right up on the top floor also. Water trikes or water bikes, they come in all shapes and sizes, but this is something that can readily be implemented even for the 2018 season if so desired. So, and the desire for a beach and a place to go as a beach, that's what this was in the survey, and it came out very high also. So people still want an ability to go to a location that they can feel the sand and the water, and if they don't even approach the water, I mean, they still have the chairs. And then this one again, this was a big hit with the 20 to 40 somethings, the paddle boards. So those are just a few of the examples. This is going to be a multi-year look, really, to be able to look at how you might incorporate additional activities to not only make the beach area better, but to maybe add things to that whole area. So we've been looking at the addition of the first future or additional aquatic activities. We'll be taking a look at some of these other adventure activities, the land-based ones also. And, I think really the third one there is really important because since the lake is the #1 destination in the state, there is a huge opportunity here to look at a few of these things around in that beach area. And it's very subtle because it's a very small area, but there's a very huge opportunity here to add some activities in that beach area that can increase the desirability in the visitor day and revenue for long-term operation. The other part of this discussion is also exploring and maybe looking at some partnerships for some funding and operation of some of that type of activity, because some of it's fairly specialized. Some of the adventure activities are such that you have to be harnessed and you have to be belayed off of cables. But if you notice some of those pictures, that family, they were probably 60 feet off the ground. So it's what people want, and that's what we're seeing with the surveys, et cetera. Okay, what's the next step? And basically, over the next couple months, we're going to kind of take a look at the Family Adventure Park, I guess you might say, which is the Beach Plus. What's the possibilities? What's the issues? What's the limitations? You have a certain amount of ground. You cannot try to do things that won't fit the ground or that cannot function within that environment. Develop a phased approach, because something like this lends itself to a phase type activity. Preliminary costs, follow up with some additional public engagement, and then also have some discussions about some contract operations, et cetera, and then look at how this might be funding. And hopefully in 6 to 8 weeks we'll be back here before you and talk about some possibilities. And some of them you can see right here, and I think the from the treehouse play area to the water balls to the that's a zip line. The young lady there in the middle, I think, says it all. She's on she's about 70 feet in the air on that. Her family, if you can see the rest of the picture, her family's around her and they're having a blast. But Splash Park, again, we have a lot of activities that people want and would sure like to have, but that's kind of the, going to take a look at the crystal ball and see how those activities might be able to be applied to that area. So with that, I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you might have.
Commissioners?
The only other thing I'd like to make sure, upon seeing some of these pictures, I am sure that there are people out there that are going, how are you going to pay for that? I wanted to emphasize a lot of the partnerships. There are companies out there that'll bring some of the capital here. Some of the other extended areas that we're talking about there, maybe those could be developed too. But the funding picture won't all be taxpayer funded, and we're trying to set this up so it's financially sustainable as was called for in our master plan. And I did want to make sure that Commissioner Archer, he probably doesn't want me to say this, but those two lawn chairs, the two people, the people who voted for those were me and Mr. Archer. I'm comfortable with it.
Thank you, Jim and Sean. Do we have questions, Commissioner
Well,
Bauer?
that's our little piece of paradise right here in Shawnee County. So I applaud you all for doing the survey and getting public comment. And that creates enthusiasm and excitement to do some really cool stuff. So that's pretty neat. Yeah. And I think we could maybe get former Commissioner Vic Miller to do the zip line. What do you bet?
Commissioner Cook?
Well, Commissioner Archer, one of your favorite phrases is wow, and I think that's really where I'm left this morning is wow. Jim, Martin, thank you for all the work that you've done.
I'm having fun.
Since you've retired, Shawnee County has benefited greatly from all of your work on the advisory board, working on the priority of deferred maintenance, looking at where we're at. We really picked up a full-time employee with it.
And then some.
And then some. And thank you for, again, not just you, but also the whole advisory board for all of their work and input going out to the kids. I understand the kids probably asked you some of the hard questions, maybe even some harder than commissioners will ask. And so,
Commissioner, I didn't say I was fortunate to have a gifted class at the high school. And before I could even administer the survey, I had to answer over an hour of questions that you all would have appreciated. Funding, ticketing, inclusion, I mean everything. So, and yeah, I'm not here representing the advisory board as such. I'm just kind of Engineers retire, they look for things to fix, so I'm trying to help him fix, so.
And this is exactly what we had talked about, was when we closed the swim beach, was rebranding.
Yeah.
And coming up with something new. And this also provides that rebranding and also just equity to the east side of Topeka and Shawnee County, matching what we have on the west side. And so we have those in our quadrants, which is part of the master plan. So I look forward to coming back to the commission with you guys refine this a little bit more.
I think you will be very surprised and pleasantly surprised. There's a lot of potential.
Good. I'm impressed also, and want to thank you and remind everybody that Lake Shawnee is the #1 site to visit in the state of Kansas, according to Expedia and the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. So that should never be forgotten. Thank you again, Jim.
Yep.
Thank you, Sean. I guess we need a motion to consider the request. Is that, can I get?
Most of what we just wanted to report back to
Okay.
you, and also let the county commissioners and the public know what they can expect, and some water activities will be available in 2018.
Can they still take the survey?
Oh, all the way through at least the end of this month, and we may extend that.
And where is that survey available?
It's on the Park and Rec website,
Okay.
up in the upper left-hand corner. It takes only about 2 minutes to take.
Okay, very good. Thank you again.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks.
Next item, please.
Item C, Sheriff's Office, #1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding the purchase of a trailer for the crime scene unit from D&L Trailer Sales in an amount of $4,069 with funding from the 2017 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Captain Hubler with the Sheriff's Office. I don't have anything nearly that fun to talk about, so my apologies. This, make sure I'm talking about the right thing. This trailer is to transport crime scene materials out to the scene. It'll avail our crime scene investigations unit to take more supplies out with them and to be able to also process out of the weather, that type of thing. So if you have any further questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
I'll move to acknowledge receipt of the correspondence.
Second.
Motion made to acknowledge by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item C2, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding the purchase of 15 3M ULW lightweight ballistic bug helmets for the SWAT team from BoTAC Tactical at a total cost of $12,975 with funding from the 2017 budget.
Again, Commissioners, Captain Hubler with the Sheriff's Office. This is to replace our current existing helmets with which SWAT team leader, Corporal Evans, is holding the current ones. They expire in 2018, and it's every SWAT team member has one. The new helmets actually will have a longer lifespan. They'll have a 10-year lifespan instead of a 5-year, as our existing ones do. They're more lightweight and have a lot better wearability, comfortability for the SWAT team members. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if I can't, I'm sure Corporal Evans would be happy to.
Any questions? I asked the Sheriff's Office to bring a bump helmet in so we could see what we were buying. So.
Yeah, basically this is the mid cut instead of the high cut. So the bump helmet, that just is an acronym that they use to describe their product.
Okay, very good. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Bids were taken on these?
Yes, I'm sorry. We were initially going to go with the American Communities contract, which had a fairly reasonable price, we thought, and we got to doing some talking with some other vendors and found that BoTAC beat the American Communities contract considerably, and so we went with that option instead.
Good, thank you.
I think that's a good hallmark for the commission, is making sure we get bids and look at what else may be out there.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
we were, for what it's worth, we were continuing to look at other options as late as yesterday because we had a vendor mistakenly tell us that they thought they could beat the price, but we got that cleared up today.
Move to acknowledge receipt.
Second.
Motion made to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. And I did notice that Betty was smiling as we talked about going out and getting a better bid. Next item, please.
Item C3, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding the purchase of 7 vehicles from Blue Fuzz Dodge and a total amount of $206,114 with funding from the 2017 budget.
Good morning again, Commissioners. This is the start of replenishing some of the vehicles that we have at the Sheriff's Office. We have approximately 150 vehicles and drive approximately 1.3 million miles a year. We typically rotate the vehicles off of patrol at around 100,000 miles, or as our repair costs dictate that we need to get those vehicles out of primary service area. At that point, we move them to some of the other areas within the Sheriff's Office, which don't have primary response duties, and we try and manage those vehicles around the 130,000 mile mark. We have found that a lot of our vehicles, and you may see some if people go out on Gov Deals or where we sell some of our vehicles, or as we allocate those vehicles to other departments within the county, that they're lower mileage than that. A lot of our canine vehicles that sit and idle for a long time, we do have hour meters. The hour meters on those canine vehicles are very high. So their miles may not be at the numbers that I'm stating today, but typically it's repair costs and miles that we try and manage that with. These vehicles are from Lou Fuse, and it is off the Mid-America contract. We've had pretty good luck over the years in being able to find the state contract because of the state's fiscal year. Hasn't been renewed with these vehicles. We talked to the vendor that provided those vehicles last year. Their bid was considerably higher. We had also looked at the GSA pricing that we were able to facilitate through the Kansas Highway Patrol, and those vehicles were about $3,000 each higher on the GSA pricing than what we were able to secure with the Mid-America contract. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have on this.
Questions or comments for Captain Hooper?
Just a comment that this is coming out of the 2017 budget for the Sheriff's Office, and that there are funds in the Sheriff's budget to pay for these.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll acknowledge receipt.
I'll move to acknowledge, or I'll second, and I'll note that I did receive a phone call from Sheriff Jones. I know he couldn't be here, had some questions, you answered them, so thank you.
Very good, very good. Motion made to acknowledge receipt by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Captain. I appreciate your coming and explaining these issues just for the public to understand. So,
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item B, Health Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-348-2017 with Hickok and Associates LLC for laboratory director services at a cost of $440 per month for 1 year from November 1, 2017 through October 31, 2018, with funding from tax allocation and program fees.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. I do need to make a correction. The actual fee is $550 per month. So we are, because we do lab tests in our sexually transmitted infection clinic, we are required by the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendment, or CLIA, to have a certified and director to direct those activities for us. She helps us with quality control, with our records for our equipment, and also with inspections that we have every 2 years done by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about this agreement.
Questions this morning for Linda?
All with approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0, and for the record, The fee is $550 a month.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of contract C349-2017 with Kansas Department of Health and Environment for grant funding in an amount of $1,168,383 for the Women, Infants, and Children WIC program in Shawnee, Waubonsee, and Osage counties, and $26,771 for the Breastfeeding Peer Counselor program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. This is our annual contract that we go into. We usually go into effect with Kansas Department of Health and Environment for the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, or WIC. This contract would cover the entire year and all the expenses with WIC. We serve over 6,000 participants annually, and they are breastfeeding women, pregnant, infants, and children up to their 5th birthday. And I will add that WIC adds $3.2 million in sales to the community of Shawnee County through the grocery stores and other stores. Also with WIC, there's a lot of research with WIC. WIC has been around in Kansas since 1974, and it has shown to reduce fetal deaths and infant mortality, as well as reducing low birth rates and increasing the duration of pregnancy. And we're going to be doing some exciting things in WIC this year. We're going to be looking at satellite clinics, perhaps on the east side of town, since our location is more in the central part. So you'll be hearing more about WIC from us as the year progresses. And included in this contract, the allocation for Waubonsee County is $6,319, and for Osage is $23,516. And included in this is $26,771 to support the Breastfeeding Peer Counselor program. And I can tell you we've almost doubled our contacts in that program this year. We've gone from about 360 to about 700 women who are seeing and getting services from the Breastfeeding Peer Counselors. And so I'd be happy to answer any questions about the contract or WIC.
Good. Questions? Mr. Cook?
Just a note that we didn't quite get everything that we had requested in our, and so it's close, but not quite. I know that we've had discussions in the past about looking at the state requirements, and does this fall within that same trend that we're seeing as far as what the state's awarding to Shawnee County?
I don't think so with WIC. The reason that we didn't get the amount that we asked for is that we didn't spend all of this year's allocation. That we almost always have openings in positions in this program because there are so many staff involved with this program. So I always anticipate the most I think we would need, and then the state takes a look at that. 2 years ago, we started to where we were going to go over the allocation. I called the state, and they increased our allocation. So it's usually not a problem. I think they've just seen statewide that people have asked for more money than they've needed, and that creates bookkeeping problems for them. So that is why they lowered the allocation from our request.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item D3, consider authorization and execution of contract C350-2017 with Waubonsee County to provide WIC services in Waubonsee County with grant funding from KDHE of $6,319.
I was about to get
apologize,
confused
I
there.
explained them all at once. I forgot they were separate. I did explain them all at once, so I would be happy to answer any questions on these two.
I'll move to approve the contract.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item D4, consider authorization and execution of contract C351-2017 with Osage County to provide WIC services in Osage County with grant funding from KDHE of $23,516.
Again, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, additional questions for Linda?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm going to plead that I'm still new. Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item E, facilities maintenance. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C352-2017, amending contract C109-2017 with Seni Company, Inc. setting the guaranteed maximum price of $189,638 for the renovations of District 3 courtroom and chambers, Suite 410.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. This item is concerning the already budgeted for Division 3 renovations in the courtroom itself. The design work is all complete on that now, and Cindy Construction, Cindy Hill from Cindy is here today with us. They're ready to proceed for actual construction and getting that courtroom ADA compliant and cleaned up and renovated and looking nice. I'll be happy to answer any questions. The guaranteed maximum price does come in under the actual budgeted amount for that courtroom.
Okay. Questions? Commissioner Cook?
The action for this item is just to set the overall project budget, its maximum price.
The guaranteed maximum price and to move forward with construction.
Okay. And because we're going to have discussion in just a moment regarding one of the items under that.
The other one is a completely separate item.
Okay.
Yeah. The second item on this.
So I'll move approval of the requested amendment to the contract setting the guaranteed maximum price.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item E2, consider authorization and execution of contract C353-2017 with Cindy Construction, Inc. for the addition of one ADA compliant restroom within the chamber area of Suite 410 in an amount of $39,747 as a guaranteed maximum price, and waiving the purchasing policies that require 3 bids with funding of $20,000 from the court administration budget, $10,000 from the 2017 capital outlay, $10,000 from the 2018 court administration's capital outlay, and additional funding may be obtained through any remaining courtroom renovation contingency monies, which have been set at $10,000.
Morning, Maine Commissioners. Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. This is the complicated part of this one. During the design phase of the courtroom, Mr. Heidovitz from Court Administration and Judge Watson at the time were concerned that there is no private restroom facility within that chambers area for the judge to use. Initial design work and pricing indicated fairly early on that we would not have enough funding from the $190,000 budget for the courtroom renovation that we had already been approved to move forward with this restroom. There was a lot of discussion about the need for the restroom, how it benefited. Be happy to have Mr. Heidovitz explain some of that. But it gets complicated because there is no funds approved for it yet. So what's before you is a contract to approve funding of it. Some of that funding is projected funding from 2018, so it complicates things a little bit more to come up with that nearly $40,000 we need to put that restroom in. There is contingency funds within the general courtroom renovation project of $10,000 that I hope we don't need to get into, but we put them in there to make sure that if we run into something surprising, we can deal with it. That could also be used to help fund this. From there, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and Mr. Heidovitz and Cindy Hill from Cindy, we're also here to answer any questions.
Questions, Commissioner Cook?
I'll start off, but maybe have Mr. Heidovitz come up and
Okay.
Talk just a little bit about this project and why it's needed.
Good morning, Charles Heidovitz, District Court. Early on, we did Division 5 this past year, and that's an ADA accessible courtroom, and that's what we're doing here in this one too. As you may recall, the Division 5 has a jury box, this one does not. So the entire 4th floor now has become ADA accessible once this project is going to be complete. We took the ADA jury bathroom out of Division 5, and we, as a group, with the Commissioner's consent and support, created a 4th floor ADA public restrooms as well. So as part of this particular project, one of the themes or sentiments was that if this courtroom and chambers is going to be ADA, that there should be an ADA restroom contained within it. We looked at that. And we found that we could do that by moving it from its intended location because of the way the plumbing is, and as a result, we would have to sacrifice the conference room, or a large portion of that. So the group decided that that was important. We brought that to the chief judge's attention, and she supported that as well. So that is one of the reasons why we're moving forward and asking your support in this endeavor.
So, at the risk of being a very unpopular person around the courthouse, let me ask, why do we need to have an additional bathroom facility on the 4th floor? All but 2 divisions, this being 1 and what is now Division 1, all but 2 already have their own restroom facilities. Why would we spend an additional $40,000 when there are 4 other restroom facilities on the 4th floor? Because this is a question as commissioners we get asked.
Certainly, I understand that. I think there's a couple of different issues. One is safety and security for the judge. I think that if you have a disabled judicial officer in that type of situation, having them use a public restroom facility might put them in jeopardy for putting them with the public who might not be happy with some of their decisions. And so we want to provide them with that type of safety and security.
But we have, in addition to the ADA bathroom on the 4th floor, the county commission bathroom has the extra large door, and we have 4 other restroom facilities on the 4th floor if we were talking about non-ADA compliant. Again, this is a question we get asked, is why do each of the judges need to have this facility? Why can't they just share or use judicial?
Well, again, none of the other judicial offices and restrooms are ADA capable. And I think it would not be feasible to ask a judicial officer, nor any member of the public, to go, say, from the 4th floor to the basement to use an ADA facility. That's one of the motivating factors of creating the 4th floor ADA restroom. I think in today's world, it's not prudent to have individuals who might have a disability to be subject to traversing this facility.
The second question that comes up is, why should we have this as a sole source item as opposed to going out to bid? It's been the practice of the commission to have things go out to bid. We talked about that even with the sheriff's office with the SWAT helmets. And why would we not go out to bid on this item when we have a practice of going out to bid for other items?
We were following suit in what we did with Division 5. In Division 5, the restroom that the 4th floor ADA component was not part and parcel to that. We broke it out with your permission, and you funded that section as well without having to go out to rebid. So that is the format that we followed in this one. But if you wanted us to go out to bid for that, we have no objection to that.
And then the last question I have, Commissioner Archer, is just, this is asking to spend monies that we have out of the 2018 capital outlay that we haven't even had the discussion of the 2018 capital outlay and what the needs of the whole county may be. There may be $10,000 in the 2018 capital outlay, but we haven't had that discussion yet. But this is asking for that to be set aside.
We are, that is part of our proposal to you, and we understand that hasn't been a decision at this point in time. We hope that we might receive a favorable consideration for you at that time, and if not, then we would have to go back to the drawing board and see where we can obtain those funds.
I had a couple,
Commissioner
just
Bueller?
following up on Commissioner Cook's comments. Yes, $40,000 for one restroom is tough. I would support going out for bids, and I guess in consideration also, it had $17,000 just in there for plumbing, I believe. While it might be ideal to relocate that I just think we need to look at that as well, considering this $40,000.
Certainly, I have no
price
problem with
tag.
that. The main reason why there is such a large plumbing issue, from my understanding, is the location of the main pipes underneath it in Judge Yeoman's chamber. So the space that we thought it might be in, which would reduce our construction cost, is on the opposite side of the courtroom below it. So once you were to flush the toilet, you will hear all the water running across the courtroom. And that we can't have, because I've had that experience in past courtrooms, especially in Tampa, Florida, and it just makes a horrendous noise and disrupts the court operation. So that's why we move it to the opposite side. Now your chases are pretty much over top one another, and you don't have that disruption.
Commissioner Archer, just-
Yes.
When, in,
Commissioner Bueller, did you
No,
have
I
something
think
to
it's
do?
worth a second opinion just on the price. Yeah, it's just a...
on the bathroom itself, again, there are 4 other judicial chambers that have bathrooms on the 4th floor. Division 2, Division 14, Division 5, which is soon to be Division 3 when we move divisions around, or Division 13, and then Division 15. Is it possible to take any of those other 4 divisions and have them, with some modifications, become ADA compliant, rather than having a whole expenditure of new funds?
We did not look at that. We certainly can, but to tell you right off the top of my perspective, I don't think that any of them are large enough to make that change. But we certainly can look at that. That's feasible. Doesn't cost us to do anything like that.
Okay. That just, again, that may be one thing to look at, too.
I don't have any comments in addition to what's already been said. A motion to defer, I think, consideration of this item is appropriate. Is that your...
It would be a motion to defer consideration, and maybe have the facilities manager go back with the courts and looking at those questions of whether or not other restrooms can become ADA compliant, and looking at going out on a bid process for the cost of the facility.
On the bidding, one of the things that was considered was that since any construction would already be on site doing the other courtroom renovation, their subcontractors are already here, so it would expedite and speed up the entire process and hopefully keep cost reduced. But we don't know that for sure because we haven't selected any other bidders to look at it.
I still think we need to go out for bid.
Yeah, and it's,
I think when you're...
just saying why it was presented this way.
$40,000 is almost half of a home for some people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we need to get bids, I think,
Okay.
in my opinion. I understand the reason you need it, but I still think we need to have some comparisons.
Completely understandable.
Comparisons.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook to defer and gain more information on the project. Seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next item, please.
Item F, Commission number 1, consider canceling the October 30th commission meeting.
There is a special opportunity, and so I would move to approve canceling that meeting.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 5, administrative communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz with Spectre Venue Management, the Kansas Expo Center. I just wanted to give you an update on what's coming up this weekend at the Expo Center. We're gearing up for the Mother Earth News Fair. That should be a very exciting product. It's been at the Expo Center for a number of years, and that will take place Saturday and Sunday starting at 9 a.m. Next weekend, we have the Professional Armed Forces Rodeo, as well as the Acacia State High School Volleyball Tournament. So we're very excited to work with them and get them back in the building. And then I just wanted to give you an update on some very productive and good meetings I had on Monday and Tuesday. at our International Event Buyers Association Conference in Nashville. I met with about a dozen agencies, artist representation groups, promoters, both national, regional, and local. And talked about some very exciting event opportunities coming up to increase the live event content here at the Kansas Expo Center. We have a signed contract that we did last week on an event, and we will announce that on the 30th of this month and go on pre-sale the 1st of November and on sale the 3rd of November. And then some other events that we're pushing along to try and get those contracts signed and hopefully have some more content for an announcement coming up here in a couple weeks. So thank you for that. Happy to answer any questions on any of that.
Thank you, Kellen.
All right, thank you.
Bring Darius Rucker here, please.
Yeah, certainly. I'll get on it.
All right, thank you. Any other people to participate in administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Bueller.
Well, I'm going to take a chance. I see a young lady in the audience. Are you with Katie Kupal?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, well, I'll do a little bit of explanation. I didn't realize you were going to be here, but Katie Kupal with AT&T is, she's participating in the American Council of Young Political Leaders, and as part of that participation, she is hosting some delegates that are part of the Asian political. You want to come up and introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you.
Sure. So I'm meeting Katie later, and the rest of come up to just go in front of the.
Commissioner Bueller, if I may briefly. Mike Kage, District Attorney. I was contacted and asked if I could serve as a host for this International Fellowship Program. And so this is, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, I'm allowed to call her Dita. She's told me this. It's Anandita Listia?
Listia.
Listia. Yeah. Okay. And she is an anti-corruption specialist for the House of Representatives in Indonesia. She's from Jakarta. And she's here to observe our government and see how we function. And hopefully we can help her come up with some good ideas and some things to allow her to take back to Indonesia and make her job there more efficient and make her government more transparent. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would love to learn many things from here. Yesterday, I was able to participate in a city council meeting also, and I learned a great deal about how open the process is here. And I hope I can take a lot of experience from my time here. So yeah, thank you very much for having us here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
I think we're meeting maybe later on this afternoon with the rest of your delegation at 3:30. So very good. Look forward to it.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Commissioner Cook.
Just as a reminder, there is the ceremony this afternoon for the kickoff of refuel and participation with Shawnee County Parks and Rec that we talked about earlier today.
Very good.
Thank you.
I don't have anything this morning. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There's not a need for an executive session today, so we're officially adjourned. Thank you for coming.